Nice to see AV consultants and architects around the table at long last. Very good indeed. How does the consultancy fraternity get on with architects?
So we have a thoroughly good relationship with all our architects. The architects that we collectively invited over today were very forthcoming. I think we had a good split around the table, 50-50, men, women from all walks of life. It was a good show. Lots of architects that have come from different sectors, some from commercial, lots of hotels and stadia, as we saw. I think things have grown through the last maybe 10 to 5 years, that we now have a understanding of where we all fit into in the design process. The REBA stages, starting at 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. I think we all know our roles. So
What are these stages of REBA?
REBA stage 2 is concept design, which is really sitting down with the client and giving an idea from an AV point of view, is to what is out there in the marketplace, what they can expect, and how that maybe fulfills their brief. Stage 3 is then to develop that into a developed design, and to make sure that the products out there are capable of what they want to do and it fits the client's brief. And then REBA stage 4 is the technical design, where we then go into full drawing packages showing details of fixtures and fittings, working with our manufacturers to make sure that displays and projectors can all fit into the building fabric, which are fully coordinated with the architects and interior designers, RCPs, etc.
And this is an established procedure people follow through the stages. Where are the difficulties on some of the stages, though? When we talked in the morning, where do you find the problems start to appear when you get to stage 3 or 4, isn't it? Or is it 3?
I think it's a difficult. It depends per project. I think when you have the client's perception of how their what they think they're going to get, and when we start them on stage 2, it looks like what they're going to get. By the time it gets to stage 4, there might be a few things which they're not really aware of, and that's up to us and the architect, who's normally the lead consultant, to make sure that message in layman's terms is given to them, so they know what they're going to get as an end product. I think the architects are they're good at understanding us now of what products are coming through. They look to us obviously as the expert in the design, but I think the interfaces into building fabric, especially in auditoriums or triple divisible spaces, skyfile partitions, that sort of thing, and making sure that bulkhead spaces are open for thermal reduction where projectors are in the ceiling spaces. I think meeting rooms are so important with reverberation rates, so commonly RT60 is requested in our specifications. But with the building fabrics we talked about in the round table, there's a lot of stone and polished glass, and it doesn't really come to a decent working environment for a finished boardroom. So anything we can do with the architect in between stage 3 and stage 4 to mitigate that, soft furnishings, etc. That's what we try and do.
You get the impression that people work to different standards, don't you? I mean, clearly there are equipment standards that people put into place worldwide. Now we're seeing that more than anything else. We talked about AVIXA standards as well for approaches to common challenges in the AV space. You would have thought that with all these standards around, actually there'd be less and less room for error. Presumably is there more or less room for interpretation, and do clients, are they able to get, by following these standards, what they really need, and is it a foolproof way of moving forward?
Again, every client's different. With multinational companies, they will typically come to you with a table with a global standard very early on. They know what they want before the next building's even been thought about in concept of stage 0, stage 1. So that's fairly easy to implement. there will be a tiny... The global standards, they like to say this is going to be their turnkey environment. But typically, by the time they've moved into their fifth building, technology would have moved on, and we as the experts, AV consultants, will be able to give them an idea of how they can improve that. And once that building is completed, that then becomes their global standard. With clients that don't come to the table with any idea of really what they want, then that can be easier for us to then understand how we can access a pool of different technologies to fit their brief. So I think they both have pros and cons, to be fair.